esteemed participants. I, Dr. Nitusmita Bhattacharya, IIC Coordinator, Assam Downtown University, welcome our esteemed participants to the second day of the workshop on innovation, prototype validation, converting innovation to startup. We are highly honored to have Ms. Nidhi Bhatia Mehta as our esteemed speaker for the session today. On day one of the workshop, Ms. Mehta threw light on various crucial aspects of prototype design and development. She talked on how the inadequacies around us inspire us to generate new ideas. She also focused on the importance of human-centered prototype designing. She talked about prototype development, techniques of developing prototypes, and how the users have to be kept in mind while designing prototypes. She also threw light on sample prototype workflow, benefits of prototype designing, and importance of prototype development. We thank, we are very thankful and grateful to ma'am for the time she spent with us and for her valuable inputs on the importance of innovative strategies and how prototype designing is a very crucial aspect of it. So we will start off with the second day of the workshop. I welcome ma'am once again and hand over the session to her.
Thank you very much, Nitusmita. It was a very delightful session for me yesterday, though I wish that you guys had more questions to ask. Because when you ask questions, I know that you are understanding the concept better. So I'm really hoping that today you'll have more questions to ask. And again, this is for everyone out there in today's session. I cannot reiterate it enough that if you don't understand something, if there is something that you have been struggling with, if there is something that is challenging for you in an idea that you've been exploring, don't hesitate to ask. Because it's only from asking will you be able to get knowledge, or you'll be able to get some information about how you can break those barriers and move forward. But if you don't ask, you're going to be just stuck with your own thoughts and be exactly where you are and not be able to move forward. So one of the key things about entrepreneurship is that you have to get out of that bubble of shyness, of thinking that what will everyone think of me? Maybe they're going to laugh at my question. Maybe they think that the question is too silly or too small to ask. It's too basic. You have to get over it. As an entrepreneur, we are continuously asking. We are asking for help. We are asking for mentorship. We are asking for money. We are asking for people to come and contribute towards our cause. It's an asking bucket. So the faster you can get out of your shell of I'm not going to ask, I'm too good for it, the easier you're going to make your life and the better you can be as an entrepreneur. So yesterday, just to touch base upon and for the benefit of those who may have missed the session yesterday, we touched upon a very important aspect of building your idea into startup, which is how do I even design a prototype to test the idea or the product or service with a few focused consumers who I think are going to be buying my product or endorsing it. So the journey of entrepreneurship begins when we come up with an idea. How does the idea come up? In a couple of ways. It could be just randomly into your head that you come up with an idea because you are, say, driving from one place to another, and you realize that, oh my God, none of the none of the roadsides have, say, a phone booth or what do you call it, an eatery, and you come up with an idea that maybe I can, start this roadside eating joint and take it national, right? And everywhere on the highway, I'm going to have these very standard, good food, clean place, charge your phone, charge your car kind of a eatery, and that's going to just get scaled. So how did the idea come? Because you saw that something was missing. You needed something, but that service wasn't available. So you come up with an idea and say, can I provide this service? So that's one way of generating an idea. The second is where you're thinking that I want to do something of my own. But what do I do? I don't want to maybe take up a job. I don't want to maybe do something that the whole world is doing because that's not interesting to me. But I want to do something that makes me feel alive, that gives me joy, that I'm really good at, and that everyone thinks I'm great at it. So I think I have a scope there to do something that I enjoy, maybe say photography. So then you work with your passion quadrant. You ideate based on what are you passionate about. What are the things that you're really interested in that make you come alive? What are the things that people think you're great at? What are the unique qualities in you that make you stand out? And can you amalgamate or put together all of this and come up with an idea that can be very unique to you? So my first startup, that's how I started my entrepreneurial journey. So just to give you a little bit of a background before we get into the story about, how do we find the product market fit and get into the rigor of it. I so this is how my journey goes, right? I went to Calcutta. I was in a boarding school called La Martiniere for my schooling. I had no clue what I wanted to do in life, right? I was a completely ambition-free, ambition-less student, but I was really good in studies. I was academically a very, very strong kid. So my parents were very clear because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So they said, here's the deal. If you get good grades in 12 and you can find yourself going to whichever college you wanted to, you can go get admission. But if you don't get good grades, then you're going to stay in Calcutta and go to some college over here where you get admission. So I said, okay. I didn't want to stay in Calcutta. I wanted to go where my seniors had gone, to DU, because DU was such a big fad and everyone from at least my seniors were going to DU and we would hear such amazing stories. So I decided I wanted to do DU. So I got great marks in my ISC boards and easily I got admission both in SRCC. I was a commerce student as well as LSR. My parents, being more conservative, wanted me to go to a girls' college. So they chose LSR for me and I went to LSR. Again, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I knew I was doing commerce, but I had no ambition that after commerce, I'm going to become a CA or I'll do my MBA or I'm going to work with this company. Nothing, right? It just didn't come. And I used to struggle thinking, wow, look at all these girls. They're so sure of what they want to do in life. How is it that I'm not sure? And that was okay. There was no burning ambition. Again, I was just scared. My parents said, when if they didn't want me to work for whatever reason, and they said, if you decide to do masters, okay, otherwise you're going to get you married. And I was so scared. I didn't want to get married early that I just studied hard. And of course, being a good student, it was easy for me to score and to do well in competitive exams. And I was, through my competitive exam and group discussions and interviews, I got selected in one of the top 10 MBA schools called SP Jain in Bombay. So my parents said, okay, you can go there. I went there and I took up finance because my field was commerce in school, commerce in college, and I really did well in accounts. I would get 100 on 100, that kind of a kid, right? And I went for MBA, so finance seems to be a very natural field for me. In 2 years, I realized in doing finance, I completely hated it. I hated numbers. It made me feel sleepy. I just didn't enjoy it. I used to be lost in class, and I would find myself going and attending all the marketing classes because I would find interesting. Marketing, branding, sales. And while I graduated my MBA with finance, by the graduation, for once in my life, I was very sure what I didn't want to do in life, which was finance. So when I was offered my first job in campus with McKinsey and Company, which is one of the top 5 consulting firms in the world, they offered me a job for corporate finance. And the first thing I told them was, I don't want to pursue finance. I want to move to marketing. So would you be willing to give me a role in marketing? So this is why I want to share this with you is that it's okay if in life we are not sure about what we want to do, even though we've become 20, 21, or we are 18. There is no set rules. Sometimes it occurs to us later. Sometimes while studying something, we realize that, okay, this is not something that excites me, so I should leave it here and look for something that I enjoy doing. Because it's a question of lifetime worth of your time and your joy. And if you don't enjoy what you work, your life can get pretty miserable. So as an entrepreneur, we have to be very mindful of which is the idea we want to pursue. Whatever you pursue should be of interest to you. not because this is the idea that is getting maximum amount of funding nowadays from the VC, so I should just open an tech company. No. If you're not interested in educational technology, if technology doesn't excite you and photography excites you, then you need to figure out a career path and an entrepreneurial venture relating to photography, and you can make it big, really big. I imagine after all of this that I did my MBA and working with McKinsey, what did I do? I left McKinsey after 2 years and I decided to walk my own entrepreneurial journey. And guess what my first venture was? It was dance fitness powered by Bollywood in Bay Area, Silicon Valley. So it had nothing to do with my education. It had nothing to do with what I had studied for 16 years of my life and done so well and what my resume talked about. Something completely different, but something completely in alignment with what I loved. And it's been 22 years. I continue to run my studios across the world. I've created a huge name for myself in the corporate world as well as all across the globe. I go to different, dance festivals and I teach there, and I'm, giving people a sense of how to build your aspiring business for, dance or cultural arts. But what I'm trying to tell you is that whatever comes as your idea has to be something that ticks with you. Only then can you do justice to it. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and your life. So just be mindful of this. And now I'm going to get to our session on product market fit. Okay. So I'm going to share the PPT. And as I said yesterday, I would really appreciate it if you have any questions, keep putting it in the chat box so we can take them up after the session, after I go through the presentation. And this is where it is. Okay. So how do we convert our innovation, our product prototype into a actual startup, right? So one is understanding when is the right time to launch. And how do we understand that is through this, achieving a product market fit. So once you building on what we did yesterday, once we built our product prototype, right? Then we need to understand, is this product received well by the consumers in the market or not? So product market fit means being in a market with a product that can satisfy that market. Yesterday, I told you that whatever products we make ultimately have to be in alignment with what the consumer is looking for. It has to meet the needs and the requirements. Otherwise, they're not going to endorse it. They're not going to buy it. So the first thing is, again, we come back to it. We determine who our target customer is. What is our customer persona? Who are we making this product prototype for? Or who are we going to present our service to? Who will use it? So you can create these personas. And again, like I said, you have to decide, think in your mind who exactly your customer is, where will you find them, what is their age demographic like, what is their ethnicity like, are they found in the urban area, rural area, what age group. All of that will help you to determine your exact customer base. Once you have understood what your customer base is, then you need to understand their pain points, or what is that void that is existing right now in the market that we intend to serve and fill up, right? We need to create value for the customers by identifying these specific needs that is going to create that market opportunity for us. So the first step is identifying, like I said, creating an idea around something that's lacking in the market. So you saw, like the example I gave, that on the highways, there are no chain of standardized eateries, which also offer other services which customers are looking for, like EV charging ports or mobile charging ports or whatever it is, right? So can I create that chain which establishes people trust, so that when they are on a highway, on a road trip, they know exactly where to stop and eat food because they trust the quality. And at the same time, other things can be served by they're eating, they're charging their car, they're charging their phone, they're charging their laptops, whatever it is, right? So you understand the customer pain, and now you're trying to create a complete business solution out of that. You're trying to create value for your customers. because now you realize that there's a specific need for the customer, that when they stop to eat, a lot of people now, because they are driving EV cars, they need to stop and also charge their car so that they can drive further without any issues. So can I also have an EV charging port there, so it can provide better service and better, I would say, more convenience for the customers who come to eat at your eatery. Okay. Then we need to define what our value proposition is. What is the value proposition? Just a moment, let me read this. Yeah. What is the value proposition? A value proposition is how your product or service will meet the customer's needs better than what exists in the market already. So say there's a phone. There are tons of phones in the market, right? So, okay, but what if you came up with a phone that actually got charged by solar and didn't need to get charged through an electrical port? So it would always have high battery, right? And people would not be running around, having lost battery because all day they were busy using it. And one of the needs for the people would be that, yes, the solar power is powering my phone. Now, if you came up with that, it would distinguish you from the rest of the crowd, because while there are a lot of brands of mobile phones that exist, from Google Pixel to Apple iPhones to Xiaomi and to Oppo and all of that, none of them are solar powered. So can you create a value proposition that completely makes you distinctively different from the competitors out there in the market, that people will take notice of your product? Answer this question to yourself. Is your product going to be just another product, or will it be an innovative disruptor? So when Uber, giving you a simple example to understand, when Ubers decided to come to India, Ola, Uber, when they introduced their service, they disrupted the market, because all of us were used to just hailing a black and yellow cab, right? Or we had to call a private cab, book it. It was just such a tedious process. It was expensive. We were waiting for half an hour, 1 hour for the cab car to arrive. We didn't have a phone number. We didn't have the GPS to track them. What did Ola and Uber do? They disrupted the entire market of transportation. And now traveling has become such a breeze. You land into a Calcutta airport, a Bombay airport from Guwahati. You don't have to ask anybody to come and pick you up. You don't even have to worry where you get your cab. All you have to do is from the app book a Ola, Uber, and the cab is there in 2 minutes. You can share your location or your trip with your loved ones, and they can track where you're going. It provides that safety net. So what did they do? They disrupted the market through the innovation. And so you have to ask yourself, is your product a disruptor, so it will have a much higher acceptance, or is it just another product in the market? Then the road is much harder because you have competition already. Ask yourself, what is the institutional void? What is the gap that you're trying to solve with your product or service? If you are a social enterprise, right, and you are trying to solve, say, a problem of protein in nutrition, right? When children are eating, or say the midday meals that are served in government schools in rural areas, you want to make sure that has high protein values so they get the full nutrition content, all of that. You are trying to fill a void that exists, that the children don't get complete nutritious meals at home and elsewhere. So you want to meet that void by providing a particular kind of grain or a particular kind of food intake that can give them the day's full nutrient value. So that means that you're trying to remove that gap in the market, or remove this particular problem, or solve this problem through your product or service. And then you have to ask, what are those unique features in my product that are going to completely wow and blow the customers away? So say when we talk about a mobile phone, right? And I'm talking about, again, that's not my idea. I haven't even heard of this idea from anyone. I'm just giving an example to make you understand. If there was a mobile phone that was powered, solar through solar energy, and continuously it was getting this charge, it would be such a delight. I mean, especially for someone like me, if you call me at 5 o'clock, my phone most likely would come as not reachable because the battery is finished. Because my entire work is done through my hotspot or through my phone. I'm doing consulting work on my laptop and I'm using my phone so much that by 5, my entire battery is drained out. So again, I have to charge to be able to use it till the evening, right? So if my phone was continuously getting charged without me having to put it in a socket all the time, it would be such a delight for me because I would never run out of battery and I would always be accessible, right, when I need it to be. So understanding what are these features that will delight the customers. Once we've done that, then we need to specify what are MVP, which is a minimum viable product that we need to create. So when this again comes and connects with the product prototype design, right? So we design a very slimmed down version or a scaled down version of the actual product. Then, but it has enough features and it has enough of the metal that allows the customer to understand this is what the actual product be like. These are the kind of the main features that product will have, and it will allow them to test that product, use it, and validate it so that you can understand whether you're moving in the right direction or not. And how does that happen? The customers may end up telling you that, look, your prototype or this product lacks certain elements, or I didn't enjoy using it because it wasn't small enough to fit in my purse, and I need something to fit into my purse, right? So that will be an idea for you that, okay, my customers are looking for a small size product which can fit into their bag. So can I rework my product prototype to see if I can scale down without hampering the functionalities of the product? Can I make it smaller so it caters to all kind of customers? Some customers may tell you that, oh, you had these 10 features, I would only use 2, and I think that's what I use most of the time. I'm not even going to use 8. Then in that case, it gives you an insight that why should I spend my money building these 8 other features which most of the customers are saying they're not going to use? Should I focus on these 2 main features, enhance them more, put all my resources and money in making those 2 features even better in the product and remove 5 or 6 other features for now? Maybe I'll add it on later on. So these are some of the things that can allow you to understand what are the exact feature set that your actual product must have. So helping you to create that innovative idea or to innovative product into a real life product, right? Your innovative idea is what a product market fit helps you to achieve. Now we start to create our prototype. So once we've decided what kind of prototype, like from yesterday, the different techniques, you choose which technique you want to use to build your prototype. Then what is the journey for that prototype? You show a beta version of your product to your customers. So either you create a focus group of 100 customers, 50 customers, whatever you want, right? Who you think are mostly going to be the ones using your product. You release your beta version to them and you try and collect feedback from them. You apply human-centric design, as I spoke about yesterday, or a user experience to bring your feature set to life to your customers. Human-centric design is important. Why? Because your innovation is created keeping in mind the person who's going to ultimately use it, the end user. So it's extremely important to create human-centric designs in your prototypes. And then we create the MVP or the minimum viable product prototype, which is a representation of the actual product that will be ultimately launched into the market. We simulate this user experience through different formats, through a way that they can use the different features that we have introduced in the prototype, and we create a feedback question, which allows us to invite important review and feedback from the customers who are using that product. So we can understand whether our innovation is on dot for customers to receive the way we want them to receive it. Okay. So your questions could be some very valuable questions like, how was your experience using this product? Could you find it easily on the shelf, or could you find this product easily on a website? How long did your checkout process take you? Was it easy to do checkout and pay for the product? Did you like the colors on the website? Were the fonts of a suitable size that you could read the text clearly? You can have your own questions, which allows you to understand whether all the features that you have created in your prototype are being received by the customer in the right way. Then we test this MVP with the customers, right? And then, like I said, ask questions to gain deeper learning and insights. What did you think of that feature? How did you find our product? Where did you find it? Did you find it on Amazon? Did you find it on a website? Did you find it on the store or Quick Basket? Did you find it in your school? Where did you find the product? It will allow you to understand where do your customers mostly go for purchase. Why did you sign up for our beta testing or for our focus group? So you'll understand, maybe a customer says that, oh, I've been looking for this kind of cream forever, and when I realized that this product is going to be launched by your company, I wanted to sign up for beta testing to see whether this cream is what it is that I have in mind. So it helps you to understand that, okay, these kind of customers exist who have not been able to find this kind of a product elsewhere and would be our ideal customers to start purchasing a product when we launch it. Then we ask them questions. Are you already using an existing alternative of this product, like an existing alternative cream? And how much are you paying for it? What is the name of that cream? Do you like the texture? What is it that you don't like about that cream that you would prefer, that you would want our product to have? Is it too greasy? Is it too dry? Is it too expensive? That all of these questions asked will give you a lot of insight into your customer's mind, thinking, insights, which will allow you to build a brilliant product that is absolutely on dot with what your customer wants, thus creating customer delight. Once we have received all this feedback, what do we do with it is the next question. What we do with it is we analyze the customer feedback. Okay, we analyze it by crunching data, by seeing the hypothesis. What are the qualitative, quantitative data that has come back to us through the feedback forms? Then we try and bucket them and see, okay, 5 people liked the product out of 100. 4 people said that they just completely hated the product. They would never buy it or use it in their life. 2 people said that I would love for it to be in a smaller size. 5 people said that it's perfect as it is. 2 people said that I would like the packaging to look different. So this is how you bucket, how you get your feedbacks. Now the feedback will help you to determine which step do you need to return to in your prototype to revise, reiterate, and redefine, to make tweaks in the prototype to test it again with your customers. Only if you need to improve anything, you do it. If your feedback requires you to say, rework on a certain functionality because the customer is looking for it, but your product doesn't provide it, then we need to create that functionality and add it to the product. If your feedback suggests to you that the product is too expensive, I just won't be able to use it, and you realize that 70% of the customers are saying that the price point is too high, then how do we go back to the drawing board, start to rework on the prototype to see how can we reduce the cost so that ultimately the selling price can be reduced of the product. In each iteration, you will keep revising your MVP prototype, right? Which you test again with your customers, either the same focus group or you add a few new customers into that focus group and try and get feedback again. So this whole process can go on for some time, maybe twice, maybe thrice. If you're very lucky, you just do it once, you get amazing feedback from your customers, this is it, and you don't need to keep doing it, and you can just launch your beta into a full launch product. right? But mostly, I would say 3 to 5 is a typical iteration that a startup goes through to create a product that actually has a right fit into the market. Now, how do we know that I've come to that point where my product has validation, where the customer acceptance is there, and now I should start building the final product for market launch? So a typical percentage acceptance ratio is 40%. So if on your feedbacks, you have received 40% positive feedback from your customers, your focus group, or the people who've been testing your product, and they say that yes, it is perfect. For out of 100 people, 40 people give you that positive feedback, 9 out of 10, I would use this product, right? Then you can pretty much come to a conclusion that yes, I have designed a product that is acceptable by the customers. They enjoy it, they love it. It had a strong product market fit. And now I can start investing comfortably in the resources to start to build the final launch and rolling out of the product. So this product market fit validation will give you a strong sense of not just confidence, but the sense of a surety that when you launch the product, the customers will use it and it's going to add value to them. And that is what we as entrepreneurs are continuously seeking. That does my product have acceptability in the market? Because there is no point creating a product for which there are no buyers. We need to create products for which there are buyers in plenty. Only then can they add to your revenue kitty, and only then can they get you to become profitable, scalable, and create growth for your company. So we should not be designing a product that we love and we want to design, but we should mindfully be designing products around an idea which the customer needs. So that requires a lot of research, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of in-depth evaluation of what exactly do I want to create for the customers that it will be of value add to the customers in this world. Please keep this in mind because it is a very, very important element for the success of your startup. And so that's what I've written here, that it doesn't matter how great your idea is, how sophisticated it is, how tech savvy it is, or how great you think your product is. It's all about whether anyone actually has a need for that product and whether they are eager to pay for it. Because if there is no need for that product and there are no takers for it, then you're going to be the only person using it. And that defeats the purpose of starting a company. Because you're not starting it for yourself. You're starting it to benefit the society or the consumers who are going to endorse your product. Again, remember, in today's day and world, especially it being a world of convenience, where shopping is at the fingertips, where you can find 20 service providers to a single service just by the click of a mouse looking on Google Business, right? Or searching on Google. People are already paying for a lot of things because you have many more choices than, people had 20 years ago. So they are not going to add or buy something new just because it has come into the market. They won't endorse it. They won't pay for it if it is not really solving a big problem or it is solving a big need that they have. So your product should be either life-changing, solution providing, or it should be something that really excites people, that they've never seen before, but they really wanted to use it. That is something that blowing them out of their mind that, oh my God, I love the colors of this dress. I have to get it. Of course, there are tons of dresses out there on Amazon, Flipkart, various designer websites. But they look at one design and they say, oh my God, this is something I have to have in my wardrobe. Can you create that? If you can, then there is a market for you and your idea and your product or service. So think about the difference between nice to have and wow, I have to have. And you want to create your product or service in the wow bucket, where your product or service is wowing the customers. It is creating innate value for itself because it is so amazing. And every time you build any product or you build an extension to that product or another new innovation into that product, keep that one thing in mind, that does my product or service give a wow experience or create a life-changing, life-saving experience for the customer or not? And the answers will tell you whether you need to further work on it or it is perfect as it is. So with that, I come to the end of my session about the product market fit. And I really want to open it for more questions so that you can ask me very specifically things that you have been kind of finding challenging in this journey of understanding whether your product is right to be rolled into the market or not, or do you need to further work on it, or how do you do it, how long has it been? Over to all of you.
Thank you thank you so much, ma'am. It was indeed a very wonderful, very insightful, and a very interesting session. I believe most of the young students who have joined the session are highly benefited by all the important points that you have forwarded today. Most of the students who are planning to get into this field of innovation and research will definitely be benefited and they will know how to go about it. So I would request young students from amongst the participants to come up with their questions and queries.
I also, so there is one question on the chat box which I would like to take up. And
Sure, ma'am.
I also wanted to, one of the things I want all students to do is, sometimes I know that I used to be one of those kids who was always very shy to ask questions when I attended the bigger conferences. So I'm going to put my LinkedIn profile over here. I want the students to feel free to send me a connect request. And then if you have any questions that you struggle with or something that you really, want to kind of share, feel free to just send me a LinkedIn message, right, with it. And it's okay. So, so one of the questions that came from Mijing Tayeng was that she wanted, ma'am, I want to know about the magnetic approach for the product. How can we show the product and prove that the product is satisfactory? Now, I'm not sure what you mean by the magnetic approach for the product. So
Ma'am, pardon me, ma'am. About the magnetic approach, ma'am, I wanted to know that, like, for the product, we have to attract the customers, right, ma'am? So, like, what are the approaches or what are the ways to show my product to attract the people, right, ma'am?
Okay. So see, again, it depends, one, on what is your product. Two, again, like I said, it is so important defining your customer persona. Who are the customers that you are eventually targeting to buy your product? Once you have created that customer persona, it will easily help you to identify where you will find those customers. Will you find them in colleges, schools, in urban areas, rural areas? Are you going to find them on Facebook? Are you going to find them on Twitter? What is the age? Whatever it is, right? And that's where like I was saying, your marketing strategy will get formulated, or your go-to-market strategy, targeting the channels where you probably think you're going to find your customers for sure, and then creating an entire strategy on how you're going to make your product, your company, your own personal branding visible to them so they become curious about the product. They go and check out the website, they understand, and then they start to order it or go and search for it or send you a message about it. So there's a process. And the more organically you do or you follow that process, the higher chances of success. Because see, I personally, I'll tell you, having run 3 companies of my own and having sold 2 of them and the third one I'm still running. I will say one thing that has worked for me brilliantly. I have never really spent a lot of money, except like in my second company, and I didn't spend a lot of money. I've never spent money on advertising. I've never spent money to try and acquire customers. But what I've done is I've spent time, effort, creating strategy on how can my messaging be so powerful that people become curious about me, my idea, my product, or my service, and come and check it out. And how will they check it out? Then they will search for me. They will search for my website. They will search with my names, which will take them to my website. So it's all strategy that ultimately weaves together. That how do you get that customer to get interested in you? Once they get interested in you, then how do you show them your product? So where is your product shown? Is it on Facebook? Is it on your own website? Is it through a phone call that you want them to connect with you? That is how you're going to lead them. So you leave breadcrumbs. It's called breadcrumb marketing. That you create breadcrumbs for your customers to follow a path to reach you. But you have to spend that time building that strategy. But you know, the good news is it's your time. Because putting money into advertising, especially when you're in a startup, remember this, we are competing for Google AdWords, for keywords with giants like Amazons and people who have so much funding, so much money. So even if we spend 50,000 rupees a month, we barely get return on investment for the money we've spent. And we don't have that kind of money to burn when we are completely on our own bootstrapping. So you have to create innovative and creative ways of finding your customer and getting to them. Even when you're creating a focus group to try your product prototype and to check it out, right? That how it's going to work and how will I test it? Looking for the right customers is also an exercise. So the entire startup journey is as much of a strategy creation journey as it is in terms of a product building journey. I have to tell you that. It's like two railway tracks, right? They run in parallel, but both are required for the train to run smoothly. Otherwise, it will get delayed. So as a founder, we have this peril, like we have this, all of us go through it, and I'm including myself in it, that I went through it. We get so bogged down by our operational issues when we start, right? And firefighting. And as soon as you get to your computer, you're like, oh my God, so many emails I have to answer, that you stop strategizing and you're only firefighting. And if you don't strategize, you're not going to grow. If you don't strategize, you won't find creative answers and solutions to problems that exist. And you'll just be stuck in that box and it'll frustrate you. The idea will go out of the door and all you're doing is just firefighting. It will stop exciting you. So be very mindful and aware that your role as a founder and a leader is always to work on the strategy. And while you do the operational work, you always have to create that time to continue to build the strategy, because only you can build it. Your employees can't, because the vision is yours. You can seek help from a mentor. You can seek help from a business coach to help you develop that, because they come from a trained lineage of working with entrepreneurs to help them create strategy. But you can't expect your employee to create strategy. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Students, any other questions you may have? Please don't be shy. Please ask questions. Maybe very fundamental questions like how to start an entrepreneurial venture. So what is the first step, and how do you build a company? Maybe the registration, what registrations are necessary, and there may be any questions related to innovation entrepreneurship. It's not necessarily has to be linked to prototype development or validation.
Exactly. It could be any question
it could
on
be anything.
any part, especially ideation. Because so
Right.
I just want to tell you, right? Because you're a students. Nobody told me when I was a student because entrepreneurship didn't exist that time and it wasn't
Right.
so prevalent talked about. I will tell you this: it's one of the most beautiful aspects of growth. And you know, I'm a like a ardent speaker on entrepreneurship in TED. I do TEDx talks. I go to colleges, universities talking about entrepreneurship for students, and especially for female students, girl students. And I'll tell you why. One, as students, you have no baggage. Please understand this. As you move forward in your life, you will have more and more responsibilities, financial responsibilities, other responsibilities, which will stop you from starting something which is very high risk taking. Entrepreneurship is a high risky road, but at the same time, it's a very rewarding road. And if you do it in the right way, by always understanding the true essence of it, the true essence is not about getting funding. The true essence is making your company profitable by making it financially sustainable without external funding. So I have built two companies in different parts of the world, sold both of them without even 1 rupee of external funding. And I've started with such low investments, you can't even imagine. My first company that I started in Silicon Valley started with an investment of $100. That's it, which is in today's number, 7,500 rupees. But my strategy was very clear on how I was going to build my revenue stream. So I tell every startup this. Of course, you have to build your technology, your product, but your main focus has to be on how are you going to build the money? How are you going to build the coffers? What is your revenue modeling? How are you going to become profitable? How are you going to start earning money? That is the most important aspect of your business that will allow you to sustain it and grow it. Because if you run out of money, you'll have to pull the plug no matter how amazing your idea is. Or you're going to be completely filled with anxiety. Why am I not getting external funding? How do I do pitch deck? And investors can see that panic. So even if they decide to give you funding, they will take full advantage of the fact that you are in panic and they will take a major share of your company. You don't want to be in that position. You work so hard. You want to own all the major part of your company by yourself. So your focus should be to make yourself profitable without any external funding help. And the day you can do that and prove it, people will automatically come to you with money to write checks to you because they know that if you could become profitable with such less resources, then you can do amazing things when they pour in resources into you because you are able to create profit frugally. And this is the time, guys. When you're in college, you are surrounded by an energy of amazing friends, colleagues, professors. There's this energy to do something big with your life. Don't let that get dissipated. Don't let it just get wasted. Use that energy to come up with ideas. I'm just telling you, in March, I was there traveling to Assam and Meghalaya, right? And I can come up with 10 ideas in that area as a traveler that somebody can introduce to really take it to the next level. That is lacking in the society right now. So you have to really brainstorm and think what are the ideas or what are the things that are still not as easily available and accessible in my state, in my community, as it is in the other parts of India or other parts of the world. What can I bring in? Or what is it that is very peculiar to my area, my state, the place where I live in, which I need to further nurture and create something out of that and bring it out to the world so people understand, wow, this is what, my state stands for. Or something that I've experienced beautifully in Assam, but the world doesn't know that it exists. Can I take it to the world and make my product and service get out there? Think, be creative, brainstorm, and just enjoy that journey. And I'm telling you, these are building blocks for your life. The moment you start thinking creative, you start to become more confident of your abilities. And even if your startup doesn't go anywhere or you don't give very big wings to your idea, it will only help you in figuring out which is the right role for you if you decide to join a corporate. You don't want to be in a position like I was, and fortunately I got to get out of it very early, that where you've studied something but you know you don't enjoy it. It doesn't make you tick, it doesn't make you happy, it's just a chore. So after some time of working, if I had continued with finance, I would have earned tons of money. But after a year, that money would not make sense to me or would not appeal to me as much because I would have just stopped enjoying my work. It would have become monotonous and boring for me. So sometimes we do certain things to even understand what is my true calling and how do I need to figure that out, that that's going to be a fit for me. So, like a job interest fit or job skill fit for you. If you say that, okay, Nidhi, I don't want to do entrepreneurship because it's too risky. I want to work somewhere for 2 years, but I want to keep my idea alive. Maybe when I've earned some money, I have some capital, I'm going to start working on this idea. That's fine too. But right now, you have the time to build that idea, at least build your pitch deck. And then you can always revisit it after 2 years. That's fine. Because this golden time you will never get again, except your college life. I can tell you this much. Yeah?
Yes, actually, this is what I also wanted to tell our students. Primarily the baggage part. So the students, they don't have baggage. We understand what baggage is all about. So we reach a stage in our life when it becomes very difficult to take certain decisions. But for a student at this young age, they can definitely take a little bit more risk than what we can do, right? So I'm not saying that people who have crossed 30 or 40, they cannot enter into any venture. People are doing, and everybody should do so, in fact. But the students who are very young, they are in their undergraduate or postgraduate level, young, energetic, with exposure to new technology, and with the advent of new technology and new venture, they can definitely take their spirit and their idea a lot, lot at a much faster pace than what others can do. And with,
Absolutely.
yes, without the baggage that they have, they can actually work on it day in and day out. For a person who has lots of baggage, as Pam said, he might not have ample amount of time and energy to contribute to his idea. But for students like you, it is much more easier. You can have you can, not colleague, it means your fellow students as a co-founder in your team. You can have a student from the management department as a co-founder, or just as a partner in your team, and you can build some beautiful ventures. And
Absolutely.
what worse can happen? Worse can happen, it might fail, right? Worse can happen that it might go haywire, but you always have the time to come back to work, come back and join a company, maybe of your choice. So that option is always there in your life. So when we are at 20, 21, this is the best time. And when you were in college, when you were at this university, you have ample amount of time. So this is what we can request the participants and the students to ponder upon entrepreneurship and just think what they can do, and they can look at the problems around them in their state. As ma'am said, in the Northeast, there are a number of problems that we have to solve.
Oh,
Yes, so we can take, yeah. Yes,
yeah. I would say
yeah,
not just number of problems, but there are just a lot of, I think, hidden resources in the
exactly,
Northeast.
exactly,
People across India have no clue exists,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
It's not talked about. So you guys, it's, I would say, a moral responsibility to bring that out, to the world.
Right, right. In terms of bioresources, I would say in terms of you know in terms of crafts and cultures, that also can be a very big business opportunity.
Yes,
Now, people are doing it.
no,
We Yes, we have,
artisans,
yes,
empowering rural women, empowering rural
right,
artisans
right,
to
right.
revive the age-old arts, by bringing
Exactly.
more
Exactly.
mainstream into them. See, they are not as educated as you guys are. So you can be the marketing arm for somebody who creates beautiful stuff. So in
Right,
this, you
right.
will be helping them to up their skills and to create better livelihood for them. And at the same time, bringing this product or service to the world, which the world doesn't know. And in that, create your own business model. I mean, how
Yes,
beautiful is that,
yes. And in fact,
right?
we have a person here from Assam. His name is Dhubajyoti Deka. So he built a company called Brahmaputra Fables, and is doing pretty well. In fact, in the last few days, we had a session in Hyderabad, not Hyderabad, in Gujarat. The IT summit was there, organized by MIT, and he was one of the panelists. And he has done wonders by exporting craft from the northeast, and he has mobilized the resources, mobilized the artisans, and is doing very well. And when he got this idea was when he was studying in Puducherry, or he was in Chennai. That he took these crafts from the northeast and he showed it to his fellow students, and they were in awe that okay, so these are so nice and we can purchase it. And when he saw the market, then he jumped into it, and he's selling it all over India now. In fact, he's exporting to Germany and other countries. So in fact,
Yeah,
this can also be taken as a potential business opportunity. And
absolutely. Anything.
anything,
I'm telling
anything
you, whether
that
you
can,
want to be a photographer, whether you want to
anything,
be a boutique owner, fashion designer, look at me.
exactly.
All my lineage, and my mom, when I decided to open a dance studio, first thing she told me, she said, "You're going to teach dance. What money are you going to make out of it?" And I was like, "Mom, she couldn't understand that somebody who's, has such a good, strong academic background, who studied so much, how can she leave everything in such a good salary and go and teach dance? Like, what will it get you?" But today, think of it, my business, it's not about what I'm teaching, it's about what I've been able to create from that activity. That my company is global. I have done workshops for the top banks, top governments in the world, doing team building workshops using dance as a medium and art. And trust me, I probably get paid more per hour as a fitness consultant than I did as like a consultant with McKinsey. I used to charge $500 an hour conducting workshops. So think about it, that people are willing to pay for an art form that is unique to me, which nobody else can give. So whether you're a photographer, whether you're a singer, it's not about what it is you're doing, because somebody might say there are hundreds of singers. What money will you make? Who'll hire you? Can you think different? It's how you're going to create your business model around it. How big can you think, and how different can you make your business model? Will determine your success and your growth.
Exactly. Thank you so much, ma'am. And any
Thank
other,
you.
yes, any questions here the participants may have, they can put it to us as well. They can come to us. They can put their questions. We'll definitely communicate it to them.
Yeah.
And all,
And do
yes,
connect with me on LinkedIn and stay
yes, yes.
connected. And I wish you guys all the best. I hope you will go back with a tinker in your mind that, oh, I should do something with my life. I should come up with an idea and start working on it. I really hope that a few of you at least will go back and start to brainstorm and sit with your friends and, have a nice conversation around it. Thank you. Thanks,
Right, right,
Nitis.
right.
Amazing. Thanks, Ranja.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye,
Thank you, participant.
everyone.